Welcome to the scene no one could retake by the Glitch Bureau. This book covers a scripted death, a loaded prop, and a scene no one could retake. In this golden age detective mystery, a controlled film production becomes the setting for a crime that unfolds in plain sight. The cameras are rolling, the actors know their marks, the final scene is carefully rehearsed, everything is exactly as it should be, until it isn't. When the leading man collapses during filming, the moment is initially treated as part of the performance. The reaction is delayed, the confusion is contained, and the realization comes too late. The death was real. This is not simply a murder. It is a crime hidden inside expectation. Inside a film studio, repetition creates confidence. Scenes are rehearsed, props are trusted, timing is controlled. Everyone believes they understand what they are seeing, and that belief becomes the weakness. This story explores classic Golden Age mystery tropes. Murder during performance where fiction conceals reality, prop weapon turned real, creating an impossible crime, closed circle suspects within a controlled environment, hidden motive behind professional relationships, the innocent accused forcing investigation forward, behind-the-scenes tension driving the crime, clue hidden within rehearsal and timing, logical deduction uncovering structured deception and morin. As the investigation unfolds, the truth emerges through contradiction, a rehearsal that does not match the final take, a movement that should not have changed, a detail that feels correct but is not. Because in a structured environment, the crime does not stand out, it blends in, and the person responsible relies on that. The weapon was prepared, the scene was planned, and the outcome was decided before the camera ever rolled. For viewers who enjoy classic detective storytelling built on logic, atmosphere, and controlled tension, this mystery delivers a precise unraveling of truth through observation and deduction. If you enjoy classic whodunits, vintage Hollywood mystery settings, clue-based investigation, psychological tension over action, then this is a case worth following closely. Because the camera captured everything, but understanding what it captured is something else entirely. Chapter 1, The Final Take. Picture this, the bustling energy of a Hollywood film studio during its golden age. The air is thick with anticipation as the crew prepares for a pivotal scene. The leading man, whose off-screen antics are as famous as his on-screen talent, steps into the spotlight. The cameras roll, capturing every meticulously rehearsed moment. The scene is a dance of precision, each gesture and line executed flawlessly. But as the climax approaches, something unexpected happens. The actor, mid-performance, collapses. At first, the cast and crew assume it's part of the act, a testament to his convincing portrayal. Yet the truth soon dawns with chilling clarity. The collapse is real, and the actor's life has ended in front of their eyes. The studio, once a haven of creativity, transforms into a scene of chaos and confusion. The realization that a murder has occurred sends shockwaves through the set. The prop gun, trusted as part of the performance, has become a deadly weapon. The boundaries between fiction and reality blur, leaving everyone questioning what they witnessed. In this controlled environment, where every detail is scrutinized, the death seems impossible. Yet this very control becomes the perfect cover for murder. The studio, now a crime scene, holds its secrets tight, and the cast and crew find themselves trapped in a web of suspicion and intrigue. As the narrative unfolds, readers are drawn into a world of suspense and mystery, where every moment is charged with tension, and the truth is hidden in plain sight, waiting to be uncovered. Setting the stage. The sun rose over Hollywood, casting a golden glow across the sprawling film studio. It was a typical day in the golden age of cinema, where dreams were spun from celluloid and stars were born under the Klieg lights. The studio was a hive of activity, a world unto itself where the magic of storytelling came to life. Crew members scurried about, each with a purpose, their movements choreographed like a well-rehearsed dance. The air buzzed with the hum of equipment and the murmur of voices, punctuated by the occasional bark of the director, a maestro orchestrating his symphony. As the set was meticulously prepared, lights were adjusted to capture the perfect mood, casting long shadows that added depth to the scene. The director, a man of vision and precision, gave last-minute instructions, his voice carrying authority and expectation. This was the moment they had all been working towards, the pivotal scene that would define the film. Anticipation hung in the air, thick and palpable, as everyone took their positions, ready for the magic to unfold. Introducing the leading man. Amidst the controlled chaos, the leading man emerged, a figure of charisma and enigma. His presence was magnetic, drawing eyes and whispers as he moved with an effortless grace. Off-screen, his life was as dramatic as any script, filled with triumphs and scandals that kept the tabloids buzzing. Yet, it was his complexity that intrigued those who worked with him. His interactions with the cast and crew revealed a man of depth, layers of charm and vulnerability woven into his persona. Despite his success, the pressures of fame weighed heavily on him, a burden he carried with a stoic facade. The leading man was a master of his craft, able to slip into character with ease, yet beneath the surface, tension simmered. His eyes, though often filled with the light of performance, occasionally betrayed a flicker of doubt, a reminder of the humanity behind the icon, the rehearsal. The final rehearsal was a testament to the leading man's skill. As he took his place, the room fell silent, every eye fixed on him. His performance was seamless, each line delivered with the intensity and precision that had made him a star. He hit his marks flawlessly, his movements a dance of practiced perfection. The cast and crew watched, confidence swelling as the rehearsal unfolded without a hitch. It was as if they were witnessing the scene through the camera's lens, each frame capturing the essence of the story they were about to tell. As the rehearsal concluded, a sense of assurance settled over the set. Everything was as it should be, the culmination of weeks of preparation and dedication. The director nodded in satisfaction, knowing they were ready to capture the moment that would captivate audiences. The scene begins. The director's voice cut through the air, commanding action. The cameras whirred to life, capturing the scene with meticulous precision. The leading man stepped into the spotlight, his performance mesmerizing, drawing everyone into the narrative. The script's dramatic climax unfolded with an intensity that was palpable, the tension building with each passing second. The scene was a tapestry of emotion, woven with the threads of the leading man's talent. As the camera panned and zoomed, the audience was transported into the story, feeling the weight of each moment. It was a performance that blurred the lines between fiction and reality, a testament to the power of cinema to evoke genuine emotion, the unexpected collapse. Then, without warning, the unthinkable happened. In the midst of his performance, the leading man stumbled, his body crumpling to the ground. For a moment, the set was frozen in disbelief, the cast and crew convinced it was a part of the act, a masterstroke of his craft. Whispers rippled through the set, a murmur of admiration for the actor's ability to blur reality with fiction. But as seconds ticked by, the truth began to dawn. This was no act. The leading man lay motionless, his collapse too real, too final. A wave of confusion and disbelief washed over the set, the realization creeping in like a shadow, realization and shock. The director's voice shattered the silence, yelling cut, but the leading man did not rise. Panic erupted, the controlled environment descending into chaos as crew members rushed to his side. The gravity of the situation became apparent, the shock and disbelief palpable in every corner of the studio. The contrast between the earlier precision and the current pandemonium was stark, a reminder of how swiftly reality could intrude upon the artifice of film. The set, once a place of creation and imagination, was now a scene of tragedy, the air heavy with the weight of what had just transpired. Transition to investigation. As the initial shock subsided, the studio began its transformation from a film set to a crime scene. The arrival of the police marked a shift in focus, the area cordoned off as investigators began their work. The once bustling set was now a tableau of foreboding, the sense of curiosity and dread mingling in equal measure. The leading man's fall was not just a personal tragedy, but the catalyst for a deeper mystery that lay beneath the surface. The studio, a place where fiction was crafted, now held a real-life enigma, a puzzle waiting to be solved. The stage was set for an investigation that would delve into the layers of deception and intrigue, a journey into the heart of a world where the line between reality and performance was perilously thin. Chapter 2: The Prop That Wasn't. The studio lights flickered uncertainly, casting long shadows across the set. A prop gun, once trusted without question, now lay ominously on the floor, its dark secret revealed. The initial shock had barely subsided when the crew uncovered the grim truth. Real bullets had replaced the harmless blanks. Panic erupted, turning the once orderly studio into a chaotic scene of disbelief and fear. Picture this: the air thick with tension as whispers of suspicion weave through the crowd. The director, usually a pillar of calm, paces nervously, his mind racing to comprehend how a routine shoot spiraled into tragedy. The actors, faces pale and eyes wide, huddle together, each pondering who among them could have orchestrated such a betrayal. What's crucial here is the swift transformation of the studio into a crime scene. The environment, once a bastion of precision and artistry, now feels like a labyrinth of distrust. The realization that a prop, a mere tool of the trade, has become a murder weapon heightens the stakes. The boundaries between performance and reality blur, leaving everyone on edge. As the investigation begins, the studio's controlled environment turns into a web of intrigue. Every gesture, every whispered conversation takes on new significance. The hunt for the truth is not just about finding the culprit, but understanding the motive hidden within layers of professional facades and personal vendettas. This provides good results for the unfolding drama, drawing readers into a world where the expected is upended and every detail matters. The stage is set for a deeper investigation, where logic and deduction will unravel the mystery, and the truth will emerge from the shadows cast by the studio lights. The atmosphere in the studio was electric, a charged silence hanging in the air as the unthinkable unfolded. The leading man, once the center of attention with his charisma and star power, lay motionless on the floor. A ripple of disbelief spread through the crew, their initial shock giving way to a dawning horror as the scene of fiction transformed into a grim reality. The cameras, once capturing a performance, now recorded the aftermath of a tragedy. In the midst of the chaos, the prop master was summoned, his face a mask of disbelief. A veteran of countless productions, he had prepared the prop gun with meticulous care, ensuring every detail was perfect for the scene. Yet, as he held the weapon in his trembling hands, a chill ran down his spine. The reality was undeniable. The gun was loaded with real bullets. This revelation hit the crew like a tidal wave, washing away any remnants of disbelief and replacing it with a stark, cold fear. As the prop master confirmed the unthinkable, panic erupted within the studio. The controlled chaos of a film set, usually a symphony of coordinated movements and precise timing, dissolved into a cacophony of confusion and fear. The realization that someone among them had orchestrated this murder was a bitter pill to swallow, and suspicion began to poison the air. Eyes darted around the room, each person a potential suspect, each glance a silent accusation. The emotional journey of the crew was a tumultuous one, shifting rapidly from shock to suspicion. Trust, once the foundation of their collaboration, eroded quickly under the weight of paranoia. The studio, once a haven of creativity and camaraderie, became a fractured landscape of doubt and fear. Each member of the crew, from the director to the lowliest assistant, was now a potential suspect in the eyes of the others. At the heart of this turmoil was the prop master, a man whose role had always been to remain in the background, ensuring that everything functioned smoothly. Now, he was thrust into the spotlight, his anguish palpable as he grappled with the guilt of having unwittingly provided the murder weapon. His interactions with the other characters revealed a complex tapestry of professional pride and personal turmoil, adding layers to his character and drawing readers into his inner conflict. As the investigation began, Franklin Drew, the screenwriter with a detective's mind, took center stage. Known for his methodical approach and keen eye for detail, Drew was the perfect foil to the chaos unfolding around him. He began to trace the journey of the prop gun, meticulously piecing together its path from the moment it arrived on set to its use in the fatal scene. Through interviews and deduction, Drew uncovered a crucial clue. The gun had been switched during a chaotic moment when the crew's attention was diverted. This discovery was a turning point, setting the stage for a deeper investigation into who had the opportunity and motive to execute such a plan. Drew's methodical approach stood in stark contrast to the emotional turmoil of the crew, providing a steady hand in a sea of uncertainty. His ability to see beyond the surface and delve into the intricacies of the situation was a testament to his skill as both a screenwriter and an amateur detective. The subchapter concluded with Drew standing alone in the empty studio, the weight of the revelation heavy on his shoulders. As he reflected on the calculated nature of the crime, he realized that the murderer had relied on the very precision and trust of the film set to execute their plan. The studio, now sealed off as a crime scene, was a stark reminder of the thin line between fiction and reality, a line that had been crossed with deadly consequences. As the lights dimmed and the studio was plunged into darkness, Drew steeled himself for the challenge ahead. Determined to uncover the truth hidden within the layers of artifice, he prepared to delve deeper into the mystery. The stage was set for a gripping investigation, one that would test his skills and resolve to their limits. With each clue he uncovered, the stakes grew higher and the tension mounted, drawing readers further into the intricate web of deception and intrigue. This subchapter was a pivotal moment in the narrative, transitioning the story from shock to action. It deepened the mystery, intensified the emotional stakes, and propelled the story forward with a sense of urgency and intrigue. Readers were left on the edge of their seats, eager to follow the clues alongside Drew as he embarked on his quest for justice. In the heart of a bustling film studio during Hollywood's golden age, the air was thick with anticipation. The scene was set, the cameras were rolling, and the actors were in their places. The film production was a well-oiled machine, each part moving in perfect harmony, with every detail meticulously planned. Yet beneath the surface of this controlled environment, something sinister lurked. The leading man, a charismatic star with a life as dramatic off-screen as on, stepped into the spotlight. The scene unfolded as rehearsed, every line and gesture honed to perfection. But then, the unthinkable happened. As the cameras captured the climactic moment, the actor collapsed, his performance too real, his fall too final. The crew and cast, initially believing it to be part of the act, soon realized the horrifying truth. The death was not scripted. The gun, a prop meant to fire blanks, had become a weapon of murder. Panic rippled through the studio, yet the show must go on. The set became a crime scene, and every person present a potential suspect. As the investigation began, the boundaries between fiction and reality blurred. The victim's life was dissected, revealing a web of professional rivalries, romantic entanglements, and hidden grudges. The studio, once a place of creation, became a closed circle of suspicion and intrigue. Enter Franklin Drew, a screenwriter with a knack for deduction and a keen eye for detail. Unlike the detectives of Pulp Fiction, Drew's approach was methodical, relying on logic and observation rather than brute force. He knew that in a world where everyone was acting, the truth was often hidden in plain sight. As he delved deeper, Drew uncovered inconsistencies in the rehearsals, movements that should have remained unchanged, and details that seemed correct but were not. The investigation revealed that the crime was not an act of passion, but a carefully orchestrated plan. The weapon was prepared, the shot was planned, and someone ensured the outcome was fatal. The film's script became a metaphor for the crime itself, structured, rehearsed, and executed with precision. As Drew pieced together the puzzle, he realized that the answer lay not in the scene itself, but in what happened before the camera rolled. The clues were hidden within the rehearsal process, the timing of events, and the subtle interactions between cast and crew. In this controlled environment, the crime blended seamlessly with the performance, relying on the expectation that everything was as it should be. For fans of classic detective stories and vintage Hollywood mysteries, The Scene No One Could Retake offered a compelling narrative where logic and deduction unraveled a crime concealed by the artifice of film. As the truth emerged through contradiction and observation, readers were invited to follow closely, for in this tale, the camera captured everything, but understanding what it captured was the real challenge. Chapter 3, A Closed Circle. The studio lay in chaotic silence, a stark contrast to its usual bustling energy. Imagine you're standing amid this disarray, the air thick with tension and unspoken accusations. The director, known for his fiery ambition, paces the floor, his mind a whirl of possibilities and fears. Nearby, a rival actor, eyes gleaming with a mix of opportunity and dread, watches the unfolding drama with keen interest. And in the shadows, a spurned lover, nursing a wounded heart, lingers with an unreadable expression. Within this closed circle, each figure carries their own secrets, their own motives. The director's temper is legendary, his drive for perfection often crossing lines. Could ambition have pushed him too far? Then there's the rival actor, always in the leading man's shadow, his desire for the spotlight no secret. And what of the lover, whose heartache might have turned to something darker? As the investigation begins, the studio's controlled environment transforms into a breeding ground for suspicion. The intricate web of professional relationships starts to unravel, revealing the hidden motives that lie beneath the surface. Tensions rise, and the once harmonious atmosphere is replaced by a palpable sense of intrigue. In practice, understanding these dynamics is crucial. Each character's connection to the victim is a potential clue, a piece of the puzzle that Franklin Drew, our astute screenwriter turned detective, must decipher. As secrets emerge, the studio becomes a stage for a different kind of performance, where the stakes are life and death. This chapter sets the stage for a gripping investigation, drawing readers deeper into the mystery, where every revelation brings them closer to the truth hidden in plain sight. Franklin Drew stood at the edge of the bustling film studio, his eyes scanning the chaotic scene. The once harmonious environment now buzzed with a palpable tension, a stark contrast to the orderly precision that had defined it only days ago. As a screenwriter with a penchant for deduction, Drew found himself thrust into the role of detective, a transformation necessitated by the tragic events that had unfolded on set. The studio was a microcosm of Hollywood's golden age, where dreams were crafted with meticulous care. Yet, beneath the surface, the same meticulousness had masked a sinister reality. The leading man, whose charisma captivated audiences, had met an untimely end during what was supposed to be a routine scene. A prop gun, meant to fire harmless blanks, had instead delivered a fatal shot. The moment, initially dismissed as part of the act, quickly unraveled into a chilling truth. This was no accident. In the subchapter Suspects and Secrets, Drew embarked on his investigation, guided by his methodical approach and keen observational skills. His first task was to analyze the studio's roster of potential suspects, each with their own motives and secrets. The director, a man known for his ambition and temper, was an obvious starting point. Through a series of flashbacks, Drew pieced together the volatile relationship between the director and the deceased actor, a dynamic fueled by professional jealousy and artistic differences. As Drew delved deeper, he turned his attention to the rival actor, a figure whose envy was as palpable as his charm. The history between the rival and the victim was marked by heated exchanges and backstage confrontations, a rivalry that simmered beneath the surface. Drew scrutinized the rival's alibi, uncovering inconsistencies that further entangled him in the web of suspicion. The narrative then shifted to the spurned lover, whose presence added another layer of complexity to the investigation. Her past interactions with the victim, marked by unfulfilled promises and emotional turmoil, painted a picture of resentment. Her presence on set during the fateful scene raised questions about her involvement and potential motives. As Drew navigated the intricate relationships, he uncovered a series of secrets harbored by each suspect. The director's clandestine meetings with a mysterious benefactor hinted at ulterior motives tied to financial gain. The rival actor's secretive phone calls suggested a hidden agenda, while the spurned lover's cryptic diary entries revealed a desire for revenge. Throughout the subchapter, the tension was palpable as Drew conducted interviews and observed interactions among the cast and crew. The once harmonious atmosphere of the studio was now fraught with suspicion, as each character's true nature was slowly unveiled. Drew's ability to discern truth from deception became crucial. As he pieced together the puzzle of motives and opportunity, the subchapter culminated in a dramatic confrontation, where Drew presented his findings to the gathered suspects. The revelation of secrets and lies served as a turning point, shaking the foundations of trust within the studio. The characters were forced to confront their own motives and the consequences of their actions, setting the stage for the subsequent investigation. In the controlled environment of the film studio, where repetition created confidence and scenes were rehearsed to perfection, the crime had blended seamlessly with the performance. Drew's challenge was to untangle the truth from the artifice, to see beyond the facade and uncover the reality hidden in plain sight. As the investigation unfolded, Drew realized that the clues lay not in the scene itself, but in what had transpired before the cameras rolled. The rehearsal process, the timing of events, and the subtle interactions between cast and crew held the key to understanding the crime. In this world of artifice where everyone was acting, the truth was often hidden in plain sight. For readers who enjoy classic detective stories and vintage Hollywood mysteries, The Scene No One Could Retake offers a compelling narrative where logic and deduction unravel a crime concealed by the artifice of film. As the truth emerges through contradiction and observation, readers are invited to follow closely. For in this tale, the camera captured everything. But understanding what it captured is the real challenge. In Suspects and Secrets, the narrative deepens the mystery and enriches the character dynamics, capturing the emotional journey of suspicion and revelation. As Drew navigates the web of relationships and hidden motives, readers are left on the edge of their seats, anticipating the unraveling of the truth. This subchapter seamlessly bridges the introduction of suspects with the unfolding investigation, ensuring a logical and compelling progression of the storyline. The investigation revealed that the crime was not an act of passion, but a carefully orchestrated plan. The weapon was prepared, the shot was planned, and someone ensured the outcome was fatal. The film's script became a metaphor for the crime itself, structured, rehearsed, and executed with precision. As Drew pieced together the puzzle, he realized that the answer lay not in the scene itself, but in what happened before the camera rolled. The clues were hidden within the rehearsal process, the timing of events, and the subtle interactions between cast and crew. In this controlled environment, the crime blended seamlessly with the performance, relying on the expectation that everything was as it should be. For fans of classic detective stories and vintage Hollywood mysteries, The Scene No One Could Retake offers a compelling narrative where logic and deduction unravel a crime concealed by the artifice of film. As the truth emerges through contradiction and observation, readers are invited to follow closely. For in this tale, the camera captured everything, but understanding what it captured is the real challenge. Chapter 4, Enter Franklin Drew. The studio buzzed with a palpable tension, a stark contrast to the calm figure who had just entered the scene. Franklin Drew, a screenwriter with an uncanny knack for unraveling mysteries, surveyed the chaos with a detective's eye. The clatter of hurried footsteps and whispered speculations filled the air, yet Drew remained unperturbed, his focus razor-sharp. In the world of film, where illusion often masked reality, Drew's methodical approach was a breath of fresh air. He was not the typical detective. His tools were logic and keen observation. He began his investigation by examining the very essence of the scene, the rehearsals. Here, Drew knew, lay the heart of the mystery. Every movement, every line meticulously planned, yet something had gone awry. The key was in the inconsistencies. As Drew delved deeper, he noticed subtle discrepancies. A line delivered with a slight hesitation, a gesture that seemed out of place. These were the cracks in the facade, the clues that would unravel the truth. In one rehearsal, the leading man had turned left, yet in the final take, he turned right. It was a small detail, but in a controlled environment, it screamed for attention. Drew's calm demeanor provided a counterbalance to the emotional turmoil around him. His presence was a reminder that amidst the artifice, logic and deduction could pierce through the deception. With each piece of the puzzle he uncovered, the narrative of the crime began to shift, revealing a story not of passion, but of meticulous planning. As he pieced together the evidence, Drew invited readers to join him on this journey of discovery, promising that the truth, like the perfect scene, was just a takeaway. Franklin Drew stepped onto the scene with an air of quiet confidence, a stark contrast to the chaos that enveloped the film studio. The cacophony of voices, the clatter of equipment, and the palpable tension in the air all seemed to fade into the background as he surveyed the room with a discerning eye. Here was a man whose presence commanded attention not through volume, but through the subtle assurance of someone who could see beyond the surface. The studio, usually a hive of creativity, now felt like a pressure cooker of suspicion and fear. The leading man's untimely death had turned a place of art into a crime scene, and every person present was a potential suspect. Yet amidst the turmoil, Drew's calm demeanor provided a semblance of order. He was not just a screenwriter. He was an observer, an analyst, a detective in his own right. As he moved through the studio, Drew's gaze lingered on the details others might overlook. The smudge of makeup on a collar, the misplaced script page, the nervous glance exchanged between colleagues. Each was a potential clue, a piece of the puzzle waiting to be placed. His mind worked like a well-oiled machine, methodically sorting through the chaos to find the threads of logic that would unravel the mystery. Drew's approach to the investigation was anything but conventional. He did not see the crime through the lens of law enforcement, but through the narrative structures he knew so well. To him, this was a story, a complex tale woven with motives, characters, and plot twists. It was his job to understand the motivations driving each character, to see the story from all angles, and to find the inconsistencies that would lead to the truth. One of the first places Drew turned his attention was the rehearsal footage. He sat in a dimly lit editing room, the glow of the monitor illuminating his thoughtful expression. As the scenes played out before him, he noticed subtle differences between the rehearsals and the final take. A gesture that seemed out of place, a line delivered with an unexpected inflection. These were the discrepancies that hinted at premeditation rather than accident. For Drew, this was a pivotal moment. The realization that the crime had been orchestrated with the same precision as a film script set him on a path that diverged from the official investigation. He began to explore the professional relationships and hidden motives of those involved, understanding that within the world of film, personal and professional lives were often intertwined in complex ways. In his interactions with the crew and cast, Drew's methodical nature shone through. He listened intently, his questions probing yet unassuming, designed to draw out the truths hidden beneath layers of performance. He was particularly interested in the dynamics between the victim and the people around him. The rival actor who had always been a step behind, the director known for his volatile temper, the spurned lover whose gaze lingered too long, each had a story, and Drew was determined to hear them all. Yet, as Drew delved deeper into the investigation, he found himself grappling with an internal struggle. He was a man who thrived on logic and order, yet here he was, immersed in a world of artifice and deception. The tension between his need for clarity and the murky reality of the situation added depth to his character, making him both relatable and compelling. It was this very tension that drove him to push harder, to question more deeply, and to refuse to accept the easy answers. As the day wore on, Drew found himself standing apart from the chaos, a solitary figure in a bustling studio, deep in thought. The pieces of the puzzle were beginning to fit together, but the picture they formed was still incomplete. He knew that the key to solving the crime lay in understanding the subtle interactions and hidden motives of those involved. It was a tangled web, but one he was determined to unravel. This moment of introspection served as a transition, a pause before the next phase of his investigation. Drew understood that the answers he sought would not be found in the obvious, but in the contradictions and inconsistencies that others dismissed. He was ready to delve deeper, to explore the personal lives of the suspects, and to uncover the tangled web of relationships that might hold the key to solving the crime. As the investigation continued, Drew's presence became an anchor in the storm of suspicion and intrigue. His logical approach provided a counterbalance to the emotional turmoil of the studio, guiding both the characters and the readers through the twists and turns of the narrative. This chapter, A Detective's Mind, not only advanced the plot but also enriched the reader's understanding of Drew's character, setting the stage for the revelations to come. In the heart of Hollywood's golden age, where fiction and reality blurred, Franklin Drew stood as a beacon of clarity and reason. His journey was just beginning, and the readers, captivated by his methodical approach and keen insight, were eager to follow him on his journey of deduction and discovery. Chapter 5, Rehearsal Deception. In the dimly lit editing room, Drew leaned closer to the flickering screen, his eyes scanning the rehearsal footage with the intensity of a detective at a crime scene. The hum of the projector filled the air, a rhythmic reminder of the task at hand. What appeared seamless and polished in the final take now unraveled into a series of subtle missteps and inconsistencies. Drew's finger paused over the pause button, capturing a moment that seemed innocuous, but held the key to understanding the unfolding mystery. Central to this investigation was the realization that the discrepancies were not mere happenstance. A gesture too deliberate, a line delivered with unexpected emphasis. These were not the marks of an actor's whim, but of a carefully orchestrated plan. Drew noted the precise timing of these changes, each one a breadcrumb leading him closer to the truth. The rehearsals, once a backdrop to the chaos, now stood as a testament to the deception woven into the fabric of the production. On a related note, Drew's methodical approach revealed a motive buried within the professional relationships of the cast and crew. The rivalries and alliances, masked by the guise of camaraderie, hinted at deeper intentions. You can see this in the way certain interactions shifted subtly from rehearsal to final take, suggesting a hidden agenda that demanded further scrutiny. As Drew pieced together these elements, the picture of a meticulously crafted deception emerged. The crime was not merely a moment of chaos, but a scene rehearsed to perfection, its true nature obscured by the artifice of performance. In practice, it became clear that understanding these nuances was crucial to unraveling the mystery, drawing readers into a world where every detail mattered and every second counted. In the dim, hushed confines of the editing room, Franklin Drew sat surrounded by the silent witnesses of the crime, the reels of film that captured every moment leading up to the murder. The air was thick with the faint hum of projectors, and the flickering light cast shadows that danced across the walls, mirroring the complexities of the mystery Drew was determined to unravel. This was his domain, a place where observation and deduction reigned supreme, and where every frame held the potential to reveal the subtle threads of deception. As Drew methodically reviewed the rehearsal footage, his eyes keenly scanning each scene, he was acutely aware of the stakes. The blurred lines between illusion and reality meant that every detail mattered. Every discrepancy was a potential clue. The process was meticulous and demanding, yet invigorating for Drew, whose analytical mind thrived on the challenge. Key Scene 1, the prop discrepancy. It was during one of these intense sessions that Drew identified a crucial discrepancy. In the rehearsal footage, a seemingly innocuous prop, a revolver, was handled with a casual familiarity by the actors. However, in the final take, the handling was subtly different, a shift so minor it had escaped the notice of everyone else. This was no mere oversight, it was a deliberate alteration, and Drew knew it was his first breadcrumb on the trail to the truth. The realization hit him with a mix of triumph and trepidation. This small detail, overlooked by others, could be the key to unraveling the entire scheme. The prop, meant to be a harmless replica, had become something else entirely. Drew paused the footage, his mind racing with possibilities. Could this change be the work of someone with intimate knowledge of the scene's choreography? Someone who knew exactly how to exploit the trust placed in the props and the process? Key Scene 2, the movement pattern. Encouraged by his discovery, Drew delved deeper into the footage. As he continued his analysis, a pattern began to emerge in the actor's movements. A gesture, rehearsed multiple times during the preparatory sessions, was altered in the final scene. This deviation, though subtle, suggested a deliberate choice, a decision made with precision and intent. The implications were profound. The crime had been orchestrated with a level of planning that was chilling in its exactness. The realization that someone had choreographed the murder with such precision heightened the stakes for Drew, adding layers of complexity to his investigation. It was no longer just about the murder. It was about understanding the mind that had conceived it, a mind that had turned the set into a stage for a deadly performance. Key Scene 3, the hidden motive. The emotional journey of Drew's investigation intensified as he uncovered a hidden motive buried within the professional relationships of the cast and crew. An exchange between two actors, seemingly innocuous during the rehearsals, took on new meaning in light of the murder. This revelation not only deepened the mystery, but also personalized the stakes for Drew. He began to understand the human emotions driving the crime, the tangled web of jealousy, ambition, and betrayal that lay beneath the surface of the film's production. As Drew pieced together these clues, he found himself reflecting on the nature of performance and reality. In the world of film, where illusion is crafted with care, the boundaries between what is real and what is acted out can become dangerously blurred. This philosophical layer added depth to Drew's investigation, making him acutely aware of the fragility of perception and the ease with which it could be manipulated. The subchapter concluded with Drew fitting the pieces of the puzzle into a coherent picture. The tension built as he prepared to confront the suspect, knowing that the truth was now within his grasp. The stage was set for a confrontation that promised to be as dramatic and revealing as the crime itself. Clues in Rehearsal serves as a bridge between the initial investigation and the deeper exploration of motive and deception. It emphasizes the importance of timing and precision, both in the crime and in Drew's pursuit of justice. This subchapter is a masterclass in storytelling, blending logical deduction with emotional depth to create a compelling and essential piece of the narrative puzzle. As readers are left on the edge of their seats, eager to see how Drew will bring the truth to light, they are reminded of the core principle that drives the investigation. In a world where everyone is acting, the truth is often hidden in plain sight. The cameras may have captured everything, but understanding what they captured is the real challenge, one that requires a mind as sharp and perceptive as Franklin Drew's. Chapter 6, Behind the Curtain. As the lights dimmed and the cameras paused, Drew found himself peering into the lives that thrived behind the studio's glittering facade. The air was thick with unspoken words, a silent tension that whispered of secrets and desires. He observed the fleeting glances exchanged between the leading lady and the ambitious cameraman, a chemistry that spoke volumes yet remained unaddressed. In the confines of the dressing rooms, whispers of jealousy and rivalry echoed. The charismatic director, once the center of admiration, now found himself overshadowed by the rising star of a younger actor, whose charm had caught the eye of more than one admirer. The studio's polished exterior masked a labyrinth of entanglements. Each thread tangled with ambition and passion. Drew's investigation revealed a tapestry of relationships, each more complex than the last. The spurned lover, a scriptwriter with a penchant for drama, harbored a grudge that simmered beneath the surface. Meanwhile, the costume designer, whose sharp eye missed nothing, was privy to more than just the latest fashion trends. As he pieced together these hidden dynamics, Drew realized that understanding these personal intricacies was crucial. The tensions and alliances formed a backdrop to the unfolding mystery, their influence as potent as any script. Experience indicates that in such environments, motives are rarely singular. They are woven into the very fabric of interactions. Don't overlook the power of these connections. Each relationship, whether fueled by love or rivalry, added a layer to the mystery, inviting Drew and the readers to delve deeper. With each revelation, the curtain lifted slightly, revealing the human nature that lay at the heart of the crime. The rehearsal room was dimly lit, the glow of the projector casting flickering shadows on the walls. Franklin Drew leaned back in his chair, eyes narrowed as he replayed the footage. The actors moved seamlessly across the stage, their lines delivered with practiced precision. But Drew wasn't listening to the dialogue. He was watching the spaces in between, the pauses, the glances, the unspoken words that lingered in the air. It was during one of these silent moments that Drew noticed it, a lingering glance between the rival actor and the leading lady. It was subtle, almost imperceptible, yet it spoke volumes. This was no mere professional interaction. There was history here, a connection that ran deeper than the roles they played. Drew rewound the footage, scrutinizing every frame. The glance was charged, filled with an intensity that suggested promises made in secret and desires unfulfilled. Intrigued, Drew decided to follow this thread, leading him to the dressing rooms, a place where the veneer of professionalism often cracked to reveal raw emotion. There, tucked away in a drawer, he stumbled upon a series of letters. Each envelope was addressed in a flowing script, the contents filled with longing and frustration. The letters were exchanges between the rival actor and the leading lady, revealing a passionate but clandestine affair. They spoke of stolen moments and whispered promises, of a love that defied the boundaries of their public personas. The discovery of these letters was a revelation. They added a new dimension to the tangled web of relationships Drew was unraveling. The rival actor, who had always seemed a little too eager to take the leading man's place, now had a motive that extended beyond professional ambition. With the leading man out of the picture, the path to both career advancement and personal happiness would be clear. But the rival actor was not the only one with secrets. Drew's investigation soon led him to the director, a man whose demeanor was as polished as his films. Yet beneath the surface there was a simmering tension. Drew learned of the director's past relationship with the leading lady, a romance that had ended badly but left unresolved feelings. The director's jealousy, coupled with his professional rivalry with the leading man, painted him as another potential suspect. His alibi, once considered solid, now appeared riddled with inconsistencies. Drew noted discrepancies in the timeline of events on the day of the murder, raising questions about the director's whereabouts during critical moments. The web of personal entanglements extended further still. Drew's attention turned to the spurned lover, a woman whose past with the leading man was marked by passion and betrayal. Cast aside in favor of the leading lady, her bitterness was palpable during their interview. She insisted on her innocence, yet her knowledge of the studio's layout and access to the prop room made her a person of interest. Her motivations were complex, driven by a mixture of love, resentment, and the desire for retribution. As Drew navigated these treacherous waters, each conversation was charged with tension. Lies and half-truths were the currency of the day, and emotional outbursts were never far from the surface. The challenge lay in piecing together the puzzle, determining who had the most to gain from the leading man's untimely demise. It was a task that required not only logical deduction, but also an understanding of the human heart and its capacity for both love and betrayal. Throughout these investigations, Drew reflected on the nature of human relationships and how personal grievances could intertwine with professional ambitions. He realized that the crime was not merely about the act of murder, but the intricate interplay of desires and betrayals that had led to it. This realization brought him closer to the truth, setting the stage for the next chapter where the perfect crime would begin to unravel. Personal entanglements was not just a chapter in Drew's investigation, it was an exploration of the human condition. The emotional journey it depicted was one of intrigue and revelation, with each discovery designed to make readers gasp as hidden truths were brought to light. The seamless transition from this subchapter to the next ensured a logical flow, keeping readers engaged and eager to follow Drew's journey to its inevitable conclusion. In the world of film, where fiction often conceals reality, Drew's methodical approach was a beacon of clarity. As he delved deeper into the personal lives of the cast and crew, he uncovered the motivations that drove their actions. Each revelation was carefully crafted to maintain the storytelling tone, with Drew's logical deductions providing clarity amidst the emotional chaos. The studio, once a place of creativity and collaboration, had become a theater of suspicion and intrigue. The boundaries between personal and professional had blurred, and the truth was hidden beneath layers of deception. Yet, through it all, Drew remained steadfast, his resolve unwavering as he pursued the truth with the precision of a master detective. As the chapter drew to a close, Drew found himself reflecting on the complex nature of human relationships. He understood that in a world where everyone was acting, the truth was often hidden in plain sight. But with each piece of the puzzle he uncovered, he moved closer to solving the mystery that had captivated the entire studio. In personal entanglements, Drew's journey was one of discovery and insight, revealing the intricate web of relationships that lay at the heart of the crime. It was a chapter that deepened the reader's understanding of the characters' motivations and heightened the suspense, setting the stage for the unraveling of the perfect crime. As Drew prepared to confront the suspect, he knew that the truth was within his grasp, and the resolution of the mystery was just a matter of time. Chapter 7, The Perfect Crime. The dimly lit studio was a cacophony of whispers and hurried footsteps. Drew stood at the center, his mind racing as he replayed the scene in his head. The performance had been flawless, every detail executed with precision, yet beneath the polished exterior lay a chilling truth. The murder was not a crime of passion, but a masterpiece of deception, its brilliance hidden in plain sight. As Drew sifted through the evidence, the plan began to reveal itself. The weapon had been meticulously prepared, its transition from prop to lethal instrument almost imperceptible. The timing was impeccable, each movement on set choreographed to blend seamlessly with the unfolding drama. It was a crime designed to be invisible, its success reliant on the very structure of the performance. In the rehearsal footage, Drew noticed subtle discrepancies, a gesture that lingered too long, a line delivered with unexpected emphasis. These were not accidents, but deliberate choices, breadcrumbs leading him closer to the truth. The important thing to remember was that in a world of artifice, the smallest deviation could unravel the entire illusion. Consider how a single note out of tune can disrupt a symphony. This becomes clear when Drew uncovers the layers of deception that masked the murder. Each revelation brought him closer to the architect of this perfect crime, a mind as calculating as it was creative. Building on his discoveries, Drew knew the final confrontation was inevitable. The potential for resolution was significant, yet the path was fraught with uncertainty. As the pieces fell into place, the true nature of the crime emerged, a carefully crafted act that would challenge even the most astute observer to see beyond the performance. The dimly lit film studio hummed with the quiet anticipation of a well-rehearsed performance about to unfold. The air was thick with the scent of fresh paint and the faint aroma of coffee from the crew's corner. The set, a meticulously constructed living room, stood waiting, its props and furniture arranged with the precision of a stage magician's act. It was here, in this carefully controlled environment, that Franklin Drew found himself replaying the fateful scene over and over, searching for the truth hidden in plain sight. Drew, a screenwriter with a penchant for deduction, had been called in to unravel the mystery that had turned the studio into a crime scene. His eyes, sharp and discerning, scanned the rehearsal footage, noting every nuance, every subtle shift in the actors' performances. It was a puzzle, and Drew was determined to piece it together, one frame at a time. The timeline of events was his starting point. The leading man, a charismatic figure whose off-screen life was as dramatic as his on-screen roles, had stepped into the spotlight for what should have been a routine take. But as the cameras captured his final moments, the performance had taken a deadly turn. The prop gun, meant to fire harmless blanks, had discharged a real bullet, ending the actor's life and sending shockwaves through the studio. As Drew scrutinized the footage, he noticed the first inconsistency, a slight hesitation in the actor's movements, a pause that seemed out of place in an otherwise fluid performance. It was a small detail, easily overlooked by those not attuned to the intricacies of film production. Yet to Drew, it was a thread worth pulling. He paused the video, leaning back in his chair, the glow of the screen casting shadows across his face. The film studio, he mused, was a world where illusion and reality were inextricably linked. It was a place where deception was an art form, crafted with the tools of the trade, timing, props, and performance. In this case, those tools had been used to mask a crime, to weave a tapestry of lies that had ensnared everyone involved. With renewed determination, Drew returned to the footage, his mind racing through the possibilities. The actor's hesitation was just the beginning. There was more, a prop out of place, a line delivered with an unexpected inflection. Each discrepancy, though minor, suggested a deeper orchestration, a plan meticulously crafted to blend seamlessly with the performance. As he pieced together these clues, Drew found himself reflecting on the nature of deception. In a world where fiction was a daily creation, where actors donned personas like costumes, the lines between truth and illusion blurred. The murder, he realized, was not a crime of passion or opportunity. It was an orchestrated deception, a performance within a performance, designed to deceive not just the audience, but the very people involved in its creation. The realization fueled Drew's resolve. He knew that the killer had relied on the studio's environment, its routines and expectations, to carry out their plan. They had counted on the belief that everything was as it should be, that the scene was just another take in a long line of rehearsals. But Drew was determined to shatter that illusion, to uncover the truth hidden beneath the layers of artifice. His investigation led him to a confrontation with one of the suspects, a fellow actor whose alibi had seemed airtight until Drew's scrutiny exposed its flaws. Under pressure, the suspect's story crumbled, revealing a motive rooted in professional jealousy and personal vendetta. It was a turning point, a moment that provided Drew with the final piece of the puzzle. As the subchapter drew to a close, Drew prepared for the climactic confrontation. He knew that the truth, once revealed, would shatter the carefully constructed facade of innocence that the murderer had maintained. The stakes were high, the tension palpable, but Drew was ready. He had followed the trail of deception to its source, and now he was poised to bring the curtain down on the killer's performance. In this chapter, the reader is drawn into Drew's methodical process, feeling the weight of his discoveries and the urgency of his mission. The narrative builds towards a key revelation, the identity of the person who orchestrated the murder, hidden in plain sight among the cast and crew. Through Drew's journey of deduction and discovery, the reader is left eager to see how the story will unfold, knowing that every detail has been meticulously crafted to lead to this moment. The film studio, once a place of creation, becomes a metaphor for the crime itself, a world where reality and fiction blur, where deception is an art form. As Drew uncovers each layer of deception, the stakes rise and the sense of urgency intensifies, setting the stage for the final showdown. The reader is left on the edge of their seat, eager to see how the story will unfold, knowing that every detail has been meticulously crafted to lead to this moment. In the heart of the studio, where the boundaries between fiction and reality blur, Drew stands ready to confront the orchestrator of the crime. The truth, once revealed, will change everything, and the carefully constructed illusion of innocence will be shattered. As the chapter closes, the reader is left with a sense of anticipation, eager to see how the story will unfold, knowing that every detail has been meticulously crafted to lead to this moment. Chapter 8, the scene no one could retake. The tension in the dimly lit studio was palpable. As the final confrontation began, Franklin Drew stood at the center, his gaze fixed on the suspect, whose calm demeanor was about to unravel. "Why did you change the sequence during the final take?" Drew's voice cut through the silence, a question loaded with implication. In the world of film, every detail is deliberate. The script, a blueprint for action, had been followed to the letter until the moment it wasn't. Drew, with his knack for observation, had noticed the subtle shift, a gesture that seemed insignificant, but was, in fact, the linchpin of the entire deception. As Drew laid out the sequence of events, the suspect's carefully constructed facade began to crumble. The prop gun, switched at the last moment, was the key. It was a masterstroke of misdirection, designed to blend into the familiar rhythm of the set. Yet, Drew's meticulous nature had caught the discrepancy during the rehearsals, a movement that should have been consistent but wasn't. "The script was your alibi," Drew continued, "but it also became your downfall. The timing, the rehearsed lines, they all pointed to one thing, a crime hidden in plain sight." The suspect's silence spoke volumes, the truth now undeniable. In this climactic moment, Drew's role as the logical observer was cemented. The scene, once thought unrepeatable, had been deconstructed with precision. As the truth emerged, the studio's illusion of control was shattered, leaving behind a chilling reminder. In a world where fiction and reality blur, only those who see beyond the surface can uncover the truth. The air inside the studio was electric, every breath a silent testament to the tension that clung like a thick fog. The cameras had stopped rolling, yet the scene continued to play out in a surreal tableau. Franklin Drew stood at the center of this frozen moment, his mind racing through the labyrinth of clues that had led to this pivotal confrontation. The truth was finally within reach, but it was a truth that demanded to be faced head-on, stripped of the illusions that had so carefully concealed it. As Drew surveyed the room, he could feel the weight of anticipation pressing down on him. The cast and crew, once vibrant with the energy of creation, now stood as silent witnesses to the unfolding drama. It was a scene that no script could capture, a moment where fiction and reality collided with devastating clarity. The leading man's death had been more than a tragic accident. It was a calculated act of deception, a murder meticulously planned to blend seamlessly into the world of make-believe. To understand how such a crime could occur, one had to confront the truth hidden in the shadows of expectation. In the world of film, where every gesture is rehearsed and every line is memorized, the greatest deception is often the one that mirrors the truth most closely. This was the essence of the crime that Drew had been unraveling, a murder that relied not on chaos, but on the precision of performance. What if, Drew mused aloud, his voice cutting through the silence, what if the murder was never meant to stand out? What if it was designed to be the perfect scene, one that no one could retake? The question hung in the air, each word a challenge to the carefully constructed reality that had been shattered by a single bullet. The investigation had been a journey through layers of artifice, each revelation peeling back the facade to reveal the raw motivations beneath. Drew's methodical approach had uncovered discrepancies in the rehearsals, subtle changes in timing that spoke of a plan executed with chilling precision. It was a crime built on the foundation of trust. Trust in the props, in the actors, in the very nature of the performance itself. As Drew pieced together the final elements of the puzzle, he realized that the truth was not hidden in the scene itself, but in the moments leading up to it. The rehearsal process, typically a time of refinement and adjustment, had become the stage for deception. It was here that the weapon had been swapped, the prop gun replaced with one loaded with real bullets. It was a change so subtle, so perfectly timed, that it had gone unnoticed until it was too late. To put this in perspective, Drew continued, his gaze sweeping across the room, the murder was not an act of passion, but a performance in itself. Every movement, every line, was part of a script that only the killer knew. The suspects, once mere players in a drama of their own making, were now caught in a web of suspicion that drew tighter with each revelation. The director, with his unyielding vision, the rival actor, simmering with jealousy, the spurned lover nursing a heart full of betrayal, each had a motive, each had a role to play in the unfolding tragedy. Yet, it was not enough to simply identify the players. Drew knew that to truly confront the truth, he had to understand the why behind the crime. It was a question that led him deep into the personal lives of those involved, revealing a tapestry of professional rivalries and hidden grudges. Here, in the tangled relationships of the cast and crew, lay the motive that had driven someone to turn fiction into fatal reality. Worth noting is, Drew added, his voice steady with the certainty of his deductions, the crime relied on the assumption that no one would question what they saw. It was a gamble that the truth, hidden in plain sight, would remain undiscovered. But Drew's keen eye for detail and his unwavering commitment to logic had proven otherwise. In a world where everyone was acting, he had seen through the performances to the truth beneath. It was a truth that had been crafted with the same care as a film script, a narrative that relied on the audience's willingness to believe in the illusion. As Drew confronted the suspect, the weight of his discoveries settled over the room like a final curtain call. The truth, once elusive, now stood revealed in all its stark reality. It was a moment that demanded resolution, a confrontation that left no room for denial. The suspect, stripped of pretense, could do little but acknowledge the carefully crafted deception. The crime had been perfect in its execution, a seamless blend of reality and fiction that had fooled everyone, until now. Drew's methodical unraveling of the truth had laid bare the structured deception, revealing the crime for what it truly was, a scene no one could retake. In the aftermath, as the studio slowly returned to normalcy, the lingering tension served as a reminder of the fragile line between art and reality. Drew, reflecting on the case, understood that the nature of truth and deception in a world of artifice was a complex dance, one that required both observation and understanding to navigate. For readers who journeyed through this tale of mystery and deduction, the satisfaction of resolution was tempered by the realization of how easily truth could be obscured by expectation. Yet, in the end, it was logic and observation that had triumphed, unraveling a crime concealed by the very art it sought to emulate. Chapter 9, Resolution. The studio's hum of activity resumed, yet an invisible thread of tension wove through the air. Drew stood amidst the remnants of the recent turmoil, his mind a whirlpool of reflections. The truth had emerged, yet the shadows of deception lingered, casting long silhouettes across the polished floors. As Drew wandered through the now familiar corridors, he pondered the dual nature of reality and performance. In a world where every gesture was rehearsed and every line scripted, the boundaries between truth and illusion blurred effortlessly. To put this in perspective, consider an actor who, in embodying a role, becomes indistinguishable from the character they portray. In such a setting, the real and the fabricated dance a delicate waltz, each step meticulously choreographed yet inherently unpredictable. The case had closed, the perpetrator unmasked, yet Drew found himself contemplating the broader implications. More importantly, he realized that the mystery was not merely about solving a crime, but about understanding the intricate layers of human nature. Typically, people wear masks, not just on the stage but in life itself, crafting personas that conceal as much as they reveal. Don't overlook the power of artifice, Drew mused, as he stepped onto the empty set. The camera had captured everything, yet only through careful observation and deduction had the truth been unveiled. As the studio settled back into its rhythm, Drew knew that the real intrigue lay not in the solved mystery, but in the questions it left behind. In a world where everything is not as it seems, the essence of truth remains the ultimate enigma. In the dim glow of the studio lights, Franklin Drew stood alone, surrounded by the remnants of a mystery that had once consumed the space. Now, with the chaos subdued and the truth laid bare, the silence was almost deafening. It was a silence that invited reflection, a moment to untangle the threads of deception that had been so intricately woven into the fabric of the film production. Drew's mind was a whirlwind of thoughts, each one a reminder of the journey he had undertaken to uncover the truth. The studio, once a hive of activity, now felt like a ghost town. The echoes of past conversations and hurried footsteps seemed to linger in the air, a testament to the tension that had filled the room. Drew walked slowly across the set, his footsteps soft against the wooden floorboards. Each step was a reminder of the critical moments that had led him to this point, moments that had been fraught with uncertainty and danger. As he paused at the spot where the leading man had collapsed, Drew's mind drifted back to the initial confusion that had followed. The actor's fall had been so convincingly executed that it took a moment for reality to sink in. The realization that the scene was not part of the script had sent shockwaves through the studio, turning a place of creation into a crime scene. Drew closed his eyes, envisioning the scene as it had unfolded, now with the clarity of hindsight. He could see the subtle discrepancies in the rehearsal footage, the hidden motives masked by professional facades, and the seamless blending of fiction with reality that had allowed the deception to flourish. Reflecting on these moments, Drew understood that deception was a double-edged sword. It was a tool that could be wielded to create illusions, to entertain and captivate, but it could also be used to destroy. This realization was crucial, not only highlighting Drew's intellectual prowess, but also his deeper understanding of human nature. The investigation had been more than just a search for the truth. It had been an exploration of the human psyche, a journey into the darker corners of the mind where secrets and lies were born. As Drew continued his solitary walk through the set, he revisited the key locations where critical events had unfolded. Each spot was a trigger for memories, offering a chance to relive the story through Drew's eyes. He stopped at the dressing room, where whispered conversations had hinted at hidden grudges and rivalries. He lingered by the director's chair, a place of authority and control, where decisions were made that could alter the course of the production. These locations, once mundane, now held a significance that was hard to ignore. The investigation had been a journey of personal growth for Drew. Through his experiences, he had learned that truth was often more complex than it appeared. This realization prompted a moment of vulnerability as Drew questioned his own perceptions and biases. It was a humbling experience, one that resonated deeply with him. In a world where appearances could be deceiving, it was essential to look beyond the surface, to question and challenge assumptions. A key revelation in this journey was Drew's acknowledgement of the role of artifice in both life and the film industry. Just as actors portrayed characters on screen, individuals often wore masks in real life, concealing their true intentions. This insight was a poignant reminder of the fragile line between reality and performance, a theme that echoed throughout the narrative. Drew understood that in a world where everyone was acting, the truth was often hidden in plain sight. Standing on the set, surrounded by the remnants of the crime scene, Drew contemplated the impact of the case on the studio and its people. The truth had been revealed, but the scars of deception lingered. It was a sobering thought, one that emphasized the lasting effects of the mystery on all involved. The studio would eventually return to normalcy, but the events that had transpired would not be easily forgotten. The subchapter concluded with Drew standing in quiet contemplation, the weight of the investigation settling on his shoulders. It was a moment of introspection, a time to reflect on the journey he had undertaken and the lessons he had learned. The case had been a test of his skills and his understanding of human nature, and he had emerged with a deeper appreciation for the complexities of truth and deception. In this moment of reflection, Drew realized that the investigation had been more than just a search for answers. It had been a journey of discovery, a chance to explore the intricacies of human behavior and the power of perception. The mystery had been unraveled, but the journey was far from over. As Drew looked out across the empty set, he knew that the lessons he had learned would stay with him, guiding him in future investigations and shaping his understanding of the world around him. For readers, this subchapter offered a chance to delve deeper into the narrative's central themes, to explore the complexities of deception and the fragile line between reality and performance. It was a moment of introspection and intrigue, a chance to reflect on the journey alongside Drew and to consider the implications of the mystery that had unfolded. As the narrative transitioned to the broader resolution of the parent chapter, the impact of the case on the studio and its people became clear. While the truth had been revealed, the scars of deception lingered, leaving a lasting impression on all involved. The case had been a test of Drew's skills and his understanding of human nature, and he had emerged with a deeper appreciation for the complexities of truth and deception. The journey had been one of personal growth and discovery, a chance to explore the intricacies of human behavior and the power of perception. As Drew stood on the set, surrounded by the remnants of the crime scene, he knew that the lessons he had learned would stay with him, guiding him in future investigations and shaping his understanding of the world around him. For readers, this subchapter offered a chance to delve deeper into the narrative's central themes, to explore the complexities of deception and the fragile line between reality and performance. It was a moment of introspection and intrigue, a chance to reflect on the journey alongside Drew and to consider the implications of the mystery that had unfolded. As the narrative transitioned to the broader resolution of the parent chapter, the impact of the case on the studio and its people became clear. While the truth had been revealed, the scars of deception lingered, leaving a lasting impression on all involved. The case had been a test of Drew's skills and his understanding of human nature, and he had emerged with a deeper appreciation for the complexities of truth and deception. The journey had been one of personal growth and discovery, a chance to explore the intricacies of human behavior and the power of perception. As Drew stood on the set, surrounded by the remnants of the crime scene, he knew that the lessons he had learned would stay with him, guiding him in future investigations and shaping his understanding of the world around him. For readers, this subchapter offered a chance to delve deeper into the narrative's central themes, to explore the complexities of deception and the fragile line between reality and performance. It was a moment of introspection and intrigue, a chance to reflect on the journey alongside Drew and to consider the implications of the mystery that had unfolded. As the narrative transitioned to the broader resolution of the parent chapter, the impact of the case on the studio and its people became clear. While the truth had been revealed, the scars of deception lingered, leaving a lasting impression on all involved. The case had been a test of Drew's skills and his understanding of human nature, and he had emerged with a deeper appreciation for the complexities of truth and deception. The journey had been one of personal growth and discovery, a chance to explore the intricacies of human behavior and the power of perception. As Drew stood on the set, surrounded by the remnants of the crime scene, he knew that the lessons he had learned would stay with him, guiding him in future investigations and shaping his understanding of the world around him. For readers, this subchapter offered a chance to delve deeper into the narrative's central themes, to explore the complexities of deception and the fragile line between reality and performance. It was a moment of introspection and intrigue, a chance to reflect on the journey alongside Drew and to consider the implications of the mystery that had unfolded. As the narrative transitioned to the broader resolution of the parent chapter, the impact of the case on the studio and its people became clear. While the truth had been revealed, the scars of deception lingered, leaving a lasting impression on all involved. The case had been a test of Drew's skills and his understanding of human nature, and he had emerged with a deeper appreciation for the complexities of truth and deception. The journey had been one of personal growth and discovery, a chance to explore the intricacies of human behavior and the power of perception. As Drew stood on the set, surrounded by the remnants of the crime scene, he knew that the lessons he had learned would stay with him, guiding him in future investigations and shaping his understanding of the world around him. For readers, this subchapter offered a chance to delve deeper into the narrative's central themes, to explore the complexities of deception and the fragile line between reality and performance. It was a moment of introspection and intrigue, a chance to reflect on the journey alongside Drew and to consider the implications of the mystery that had unfolded. As the narrative transitioned to the broader resolution of the parent chapter, the impact of the case on the studio and its people became clear. While the truth had been revealed, the scars of deception lingered, leaving a lasting impression on all involved. The case had been a test of Drew's skills and his understanding of human nature, and he had emerged with a deeper appreciation for the complexities of truth and deception. The journey had been one of personal growth and discovery, a chance to explore the intricacies of human behavior and the power of perception. As Drew stood on the set, surrounded by the remnants of the crime scene, he knew that the lessons he had learned would stay with him, guiding him in future investigations and shaping his understanding of the world around him. For readers, this subchapter offered a chance to delve deeper into the narrative's central themes, to explore the complexities of deception and the fragile line between reality and performance. It was a moment of introspection and intrigue, a chance to reflect on the journey alongside Drew and to consider the implications of the mystery that had unfolded. As the narrative transitioned to the broader resolution of the parent chapter, the impact of the case on the studio and its people became clear. While the truth had been revealed, the scars of deception lingered, leaving a lasting impression on all involved. The case had been a test of Drew's skills and his understanding of human nature, and he had emerged with a deeper appreciation for the complexities of truth and deception. The journey had been one of personal growth and discovery, a chance to explore the intricacies of human behavior and the power of perception. As Drew stood on the set, surrounded by the remnants of the crime scene, he knew that the lessons he had learned would stay with him, guiding him in future investigations and shaping his understanding of the world around him. For readers, this subchapter offered a chance to delve deeper into the narrative's central themes, to explore the complexities of deception and the fragile line between reality and performance. It was a moment of introspection and intrigue, a chance to reflect on the journey alongside Drew and to consider the implications of the mystery that had unfolded. As the narrative transitioned to the broader resolution of the parent chapter, the impact of the case on the studio and its people became clear. While the truth had been revealed, the scars of deception lingered, leaving a lasting impression on all involved. The case had been a test of Drew's skills and his understanding of human nature, and he had emerged with a deeper appreciation for the complexities of truth and deception. The journey had been one of personal growth and discovery, a chance to explore the intricacies of human behavior and the power of perception. As Drew stood on the set, surrounded by the remnants of the crime scene, he knew that the lessons he had learned would stay with him, guiding him in future investigations and shaping his understanding of the world around him. For readers, this subchapter offered a chance to delve deeper into the narrative's central themes, to explore the complexities of deception and the fragile line between reality and performance. It was a moment of introspection and intrigue, a chance to reflect on the journey alongside Drew and to consider the implications of the mystery that had unfolded. As the narrative transitioned to the broader resolution of the parent chapter, the impact of the case on the studio and its people became clear. While the truth had been revealed, the scars of deception lingered, leaving a lasting impression on all involved. The case had been a test of Drew's skills and his understanding of human nature, and he had emerged with a deeper appreciation for the complexities of truth and deception. The journey had been one of personal growth and discovery, a chance to explore the intricacies of human behavior and the power of perception. As Drew stood on the set, surrounded by the remnants of the crime scene, he knew that the lessons he had learned would stay with him, guiding him in future investigations and shaping his understanding of the world around him. For readers, this subchapter offered a chance to delve deeper into the narrative's central themes, to explore the complexities of deception and the fragile line between reality and performance. It was a moment of introspection and intrigue, a chance to reflect on the journey alongside Drew and to consider the implications of the mystery that had unfolded. As the narrative transitioned to the broader resolution of the parent chapter, the impact of the case on the studio and its people became clear. While the truth had been revealed, the scars of deception lingered, leaving a lasting impression on all involved. The case had been a test of Drew's skills and his understanding of human nature, and he had emerged with a deeper appreciation for the complexities of truth and deception. The journey had been one of personal growth and discovery, a chance to explore the intricacies of human behavior and the power of perception. As Drew stood on the set, surrounded by the remnants of the crime scene, he knew that the lessons he had learned would stay with him, guiding him in future investigations and shaping his understanding of the world around him. For readers, this subchapter offered a chance to delve deeper into the narrative's central themes, to explore the complexities of deception and the fragile line between reality and performance. It was a moment of introspection and intrigue, a chance to reflect on the journey alongside Drew and to consider the implications of the mystery that had unfolded.